emergency.
Today on Rescue 911, fire in the night.
We had to get out of there.
A house engulfed in flames
It was like a tidal wave.
could tear one family apart.
All of us knew it was hopeless.
We begin on March 14th, 1991, as Lorene Johnson was spending a quiet evening with her family at their home in Detroit, Michigan.
Me, Leroy, and my two younger kids were in the bedroom watching a little television. And I guess we fell asleep about 12. Joshua, which is my youngest child, we usually stick a bottle in the bed with him. And he wakes up like once a night. And he just reaches over, grab it, and everybody's fine. But this particular night, the bottle must have rolled over on the side of the bed, and he couldn't find the bottle. Hey, Josh. I looked to the ceiling, and black smoke is just crawling. All I knew, we had to get out of there. So I grabbed the closest baby, and I went to the hallway. Flames just shot out at me, so I went back to the bedroom. I got a cover.
The house is on fire. Grab April.
Okay, Lorraine.
Wake up.
Cover.
It was like a tidal wave just about to swoosh down on you. That's how the fire was. The fire spit at me and had caught parts of my hair on fire. At this time, I thought Leroy was behind me with April. And then once I seen that Leroy and April was not behind me, the first thing for me to do was go to the window and see why they hadn't came out.
Leroy! Leroy! Leroy!
I can hear him moaning. And I'm like, oh my God, they not gonna come out.
When we continue,
All of us knew it was hopeless. And we kept on pulling, and that bar wasn't going anywhere.
when fire swept through her home in the middle of the night, Lorene Johnson managed to escape with her baby boy. But her boyfriend, Leroy, and their 2-year-old daughter, April, were still trapped somewhere inside the burning house.
Emergency Center, what's the problem?
On Cheyenne, I hear somebody knocking next door, hollering my baby got burned up. Could you send a car?
Okay, look, I'm going to hold on. I'm already requesting the police. I'm going to hold on. Can you see from your window if there's a fire at that house?
Let me see what you got.
Okay.
What's wrong, Lorene?
Lorene ran to her family's house down the street and got her uncle, Arnold, called.
She was just devastated. She was on her mind. I mean, I said, what's wrong? And I couldn't get inside of it. I haven't heard nobody scream like that because it sounded like a death scream. That's what it sounded like.
2-1, make 90.
The report of the fire was relayed to a Detroit police unit on routine patrol less than a mile from the scene.
Leroy!
And that bar wasn't going anywhere. It was bolted down. There was no way humanly possible a person could pull that off with their hands.
Detroit firefighters immediately responded, but the nearest station was more than 5 miles away.
Leroy! Leroy!
I didn't know where my baby was. All I knew, she was in that house, and that house was burning. And I really, in my heart, had thought April and Leroy was gone.
Hold on, Leroy! Hey, what's going on?
Then a couple of neighbors, they was trying to help, and we kept on pulling. And we didn't know really what part of the room, were they on the floor, Were they on the bed? Were they alive? Was they dead? All of us knew it was hopeless.
Within 2 minutes, Officer Ernest Wilson and his partner arrived at the scene.
It was amazing that someone was in there, and the possibility of us getting someone out of there seemed very little, a little chance of it.
Officer William Baldwin looked for a way to get inside the house.
The front door was engulfed in flames at that time, so I went around to the side to see if I could get in through the side door.
I thought it might be possible that someone would be on the bed. I don't know if it would be Leroy or April. So I just reached in the bed. I kept on reaching around it. Finally, I felt the sheet. Then I pulled it towards me. But when I pulled the sheet, I noticed there was something heavy on the bed, so it had to be April, somebody small. And I thought the baby would fall off the bed, so I had to be very careful. Then I felt her little legs, but they felt her. So, oh my God, I got her.
Get your lead! Leroy! Leroy, come on! Here we go!
The child felt dead to me. But from past experience, mouth to mouth was a thing that was next.
Work it! Work it! Work it right there! Let's go!
She was at the window, and I thought my baby was dead. I thought April was gone. Ain't no doubt, I knew she was gone.
Giving that child mouth to mouth was another feeling. Is this going to be in vain? Is it going to be worth doing? While I was giving it and asking the child, breathe for me, breathe for me. Lovely feeling to feel that child cough. Never felt anything else as tremendous as that, seeing this child like it was brought back to life.
Didn't know how much longer we could hold out. The fires were starting to heat up. The fire was starting to grow a little bit closer.
Within minutes, firefighters arrived, led by Lieutenant Peter Tabinka.
I knew right then we didn't have time to wait for the jaws of life or anything. I knew we had to get these bars off the window if we had any chance of getting the girl out of there.
How's the baby? Is she breathing yet?
The baby! Don't let her go!
Couldn't say nothing but thank you, and thank you to the man above.
Just started breathing a little. Okay. That cost about 5 minutes. Okay.
To see if this child was going to live was the next thing to think about.
Firefighter Cashin found his way into the bedroom where, under zero visibility, stumbled upon the adult male laying unconscious on the floor. When we first removed the victim, I didn't think that he was going to make it.
Move back down! Get some... Come on,
He let a gasp out, and at that time I knew there was a possibility that he might pull through.
At Henry Ford Hospital, 2-year-old April was examined by emergency physician Russ Lambert.
April certainly suffered tremendous damage to her lungs. Her smoke inhalation was quite significant.
She's loaded with soot. Let's suck that out well.
Okay, bag.
We certainly were unsure whether she'd make it or not.
April was transferred to ICU and put under the care of pediatrician Dr. Elizabeth Contreras.
Whenever I see a child that comes in, initially I'm angry. I'm angry that such a life so full of hope and future can potentially be snuffed out in seconds or minutes.
I sat there for 13, 14 days with my baby in intensive care in a paralyzed state. In my mind, I can't even tell nobody what was going through my mind.
April?
Because I don't know.
Mommy's here.
I really thought my baby was gonna die. For days, I was out my mind. I mean, for days.
One of the good things that happens in treating children is their resilience. Children bounce back a lot quicker than most adults would ever. April suffered injury to her brain from lack of oxygen and from the effects of carbon monoxide poisoning. My prognosis for her, although difficult to say at this point, still remains hopeful.
2 months have passed. April's recovery has been slow. She suffered some lung damage and partial blindness, but there's hope that both conditions will continue to improve.
The happiest moment for me was when Henry Ford Hospital told me my baby can go home. That was the happiest moment. Getting her and Leroy home, getting April and Leroy home was the best thing I could have had ever hoped for.
Although Leroy also suffered some lung damage and partial blindness, he's thankful to have escaped with his life.
I really, truly commend all those that put forth a brilliant effort. I think they did a wonderful job in responding at the time that it took them to get there and everything. I'm going to put smoke alarms and security bars on my new house, but I would definitely make sure that these bars will be able to have a release pin to access to getting out in case of an emergency or a fire.
This experience taught me a lot. You only have one life to live, and you have to live it to the best that you know how. So I'm looking up, and from here on in, everything is going up to the sky for me and my kids.
Tragedy often strikes when we least expect it. Late in the afternoon of September 12, 1989, in Rio Vista, California, Cheryl Murray and her children had returned home from a boating trip and were enjoying the long summer evening.
Watch the cars! It was a Tuesday night, and Jared and the boys were outside riding their bikes. And Jared at the time was only 6 years old.
Across the way, 17-year-old Kevin Stewart was working in his backyard.
My dad had told me that I needed to clean out the backyard, so as I was weed eating, I found my old BB gun. All in all, the gun could have been outside for a year. I cocked it and fired it, and it seemed that it was empty. I repeated that a few more times. And then when I knew it was empty, I went in the house, and I started off in the family room shooting flies. It doesn't take the BB, just the charge of air. I went to the front of the house to look for more flies to shoot at, and I was totally confident that the gun was empty.
I heard the pop of a BB gun. I heard Jared gasp.
Honey?
I just knew instantly that he'd been shot. He looked like he was scared. He just kind of laid there, kind of listless.
I didn't believe anybody would believe me when I told them that I was shooting flies with the air. So I hid the gun and tried to make it so that no one would know I did it. And all I was thinking was, what have I done?
Cheryl's calls for help brought neighbors to the scene, including Janae Tussey, who was studying to be a nurse.
Cheryl put Jared in my hands, and I looked down at him, and the first thing I realized is that his lips were awful blue. They were really blue.
I'm gonna lay you down, Jared. I want to see what's going on.
Can you hear me, Jared? Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
And when I pulled up his shirt, then I saw the hole, the entry hole, right over his heart. And it was pumping, it seemed like, at the same pace that his heart was beating. There was a little squirt of blood coming out.
They loaded Jared into a neighbor's car and rushed him to the nearest fire station less than 2 miles away.
Jared was starting to go into shock. He was losing a lot of blood. His pupils were dilating. His body was shaking.
Who's the one in the red? Raphael.
By talking about the Ninja Turtles, it gave me a chance to take his mind off of being shot. And I didn't want him to lose consciousness. That was the most important part.
Keep your eyes open for me, okay, Jared? Jared, you're doing good. Mommy's right here, okay?
Within 5 minutes, they arrived at the Rio Vista Fire Department.
I ran in with him and I started yelling, "This child's been shot."
He's been shot. Okay.
We barged our way right into their living quarters.
Paramedic Sue Hurst immediately assessed Jared's injuries.
He was very pale. His skin was moist, and he had a very small hole right above his left nipple on his chest.
What happened, you know? I don't. The mom was just screaming that he's been shot. Okay,
They took a risk. They could have driven to the fire station, and we could have been out on a call. If the family had dialed 911, we would have had all the players there in a coordinated effort from the very beginning.
Jared, right.
And I kept saying, Jared, you're going to be all right. I'm right here. It's okay. And then I'd turn around and I would just be hysterical. And I'm like, oh, God, please don't take my baby. Please don't take my baby. I don't know how much mothers love their kids, but I think I love them way too much. They're all very special in their own way. But for some reason, Jared is very special.
Jared was admitted to North Bay Medical Center, where he was treated by emergency physician Phil Moody.
Okay, we got equal breaths on both sides. And there's air coming from the wound every time he breathes. With each breath, there was a little bubble of air, which indicated that whatever it was penetrated deep into his lung, and this air was leaking out of his lung. Okay, Jared, just going to get an x-ray here of your chest.
X-rays revealed that a small area of one of Jared's lungs had collapsed, and the BB pellet was still lodged inside his body.
They said, it looks like it went in right here, and it ricocheted off of things, and it's just sitting underneath his arm, and, you know, we probably won't even have to remove it. Everything's going to be okay. And so we were, like, really relieved.
Cheryl spent the night at the hospital with her son.
So cool. He woke up real early in the morning, and it was still dark out, and he said, my arm hurts. And I felt his arm, and his arm felt really cold, and I knew that something wasn't right.
And at that point, it was decided to do an angiogram. You can see that the flow of the dye comes through here and literally stops. We should normally see a vessel like this continuing down the arm and spreading out with all the smaller blood vessels to the muscle.
And he said, it looks like it's lodged against the artery, and we're going to have to go in and remove it because he could risk losing his arm.
He may lose his arm.
But the surgeon who performed the operation wasn't prepared for what he found.
And he was like, you're not going to believe this. And he told us that it's just a miracle. He's never seen anything like it before in his life.
The BB had actually penetrated the chest through the lung into the left ventricle of the heart and was pumped out with the next contraction of blood and just shot out into the artery. He was very fortunate in that the BB didn't go straight up into the carotid artery where he might have had a stroke and died. Somebody was watching over him.
Jared was hospitalized for 7 days and released without any permanent injury. Kevin came forward the next day and admitted that he had accidentally shot the boy.
When I finally told him that I did do it, I felt really relieved, like a pressure was lifted off me.
I was never ever mad at Kevin. I think Kevin's nice.
I'm happy. There's no hard feelings. I didn't want him to think I was some kind of mean person that would try to hurt someone intentionally like that.
2 years later, Jared's older brother, Brandon, looks back on what happened.
He's a good guy. I love him a lot. When he came home, he was spoiled rotten from getting all the presents in the hospital, and he was spoiled rotten. But he used Jared Took him a couple months. We broke him back in.
People should just treat BB guns like they're a firearm. They need to realize that they're powerful, they penetrate, they kill. They are a firearm. They are not a toy.